of us. But Mr. Speaker, from January to date, using Parliament and getting a strong political will from His Excellency the President, how many political scandals have you gotten?
Zero.
How many corruption cases have we received? How many corruption scandals have we seen under President Mahama from January to date? You don't need special prosecutor to fight corruption. All you need is to get an open speaker seated in this chair, opening Parliament to investigate every case. Mr. Speaker, that's what you stood for. And that's why we are achieving this. Mr. Speaker, I'm a cabinet minister. President Mahama has told all with the cabinet ministers, and including all his ministers, like, look, as for me, I'm here. Anybody who go and commit any scandal, I'll fire you. That alone has put a scare on all of us. Everybody is ruling with diligence. Everybody is ruling with critical, ethical governance principle. And he himself, the Speaker, he himself is saying,
listed.
the Speaker, he himself, he's always concerned about the future and this country. So, Mr. Speaker, we don't need a special prosecutor. When Mahama Yarga criticized the establishment of that office, he was the first victim. You don't have to personalize that office, using state office to chase your critics. Mahama Yarga criticized the establishment of special prosecutor's office, and he was the first victim there. It took him for buying ambulance for his place. He was taken for so many times before a successor special prosecutor came and said there was no, that it was not a case merit of casing, and he won it. That's because, so why did you put him through all those ordeals when he did not do anything wrong? Because he criticized the establishment of that office. The same way, lawyer Martin Kwebu also criticized the current one, and he is running after him with the whole special prosecutor's office. Mr. Speaker, if even as I stand here talking now, Mr. Speaker, is it that we cannot criticize state offices? And should we use state offices to pursue our political or our personal opponents who criticizes us? That's how many times have you been criticized? Even the longest serving legislator in this country. But you've opened up. With your experience, Mr. Speaker, Parliament can help fight corruption. Parliamentary committees, Mr. Speaker, local government committees sit in open, public accounts sit in the open, most parliament committees sit in the open. That alone can help fight corruption. What you need is having a strong ethical leader like President Mahama, with strong corruption fight records, endorsed by the Transparency International as the most fighter of corruption in Ghana than any president. And Mr. Speaker, with Africa endorsing you as the most open parliament and the most open speaker, even with 188 or 89 MPs, with super majority, what can you use these numbers for? But you are still protecting divergent views and the consent of the minority to safeguard democracy. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is blessed in having you. Mr. Speaker, we are blessed in having you. And with you in the chair, I was always worried, seated here, when Parliament was only interested in passing laws. Mr. Speaker, you changed the jail. You have changed everything. Parliament was just passing laws. And even in passing the laws, some could go to the Supreme Court and could be trashed. And today the Speaker himself is saying that some of the laws are not even needful. Then what were we doing when you had 169? What were we doing? Mr. Speaker, I can foresee if this 189 was Anderson regime, miracles would have happened. But thank God it is you. And it is President Mahama in the chair. On that note, my brother Abu Napo is not there. On that note, Mr. Speaker, with the special prosecutor, the highest mark of President Akufo-Addo in fighting corruption was 43 over 100. Corruption perception index is 43 over 100. Mr. Speaker, he will go to 40, 43, 40, 43, 40, 43. He couldn't pass 43. Mr. Speaker, the worst performance of President Mahama in fighting corruption was 43. The highest was 48. The medium was 47. Our worst performance in fighting corruption was your highest mark. Yes. Between we and you. The records are clear. That is the records. What you could say was that, oh, we have given this budget to the special prosecutor. We have given this budget to the Attorney General. We have given this budget. We've given more money to the corruption fighting institutions. And what was your record? What was your record? So, Mr. Speaker, on that note, I go by the proposal for the scrapping of the Special Prosecutor's Office and resourcing the Attorney General and Minister for Justice Office. That is what we use and have the highest mark in fighting corruption. You don't create bureaucracies and think that you are fighting corruption. You don't create bureaucracies and think you are fighting corruption. Mr. Speaker, on that note, my colleagues on the other side, I have now seen clearly that in the corruption debate, in fighting corruption, we are far better than them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Honorable members, I think the message from the House is clear. And we are happy that we have senior members outside the House, former speakers, supporting this message. And so we'll proceed not to direct you, but to urge you on to do what is proper. If we all agree that it is serving no purpose, we know what to do as a House. And so we'll do that. Secondly, I'm grateful to the House, very grateful to the House, because a delegation which is being led by His Excellency to a conference in Qatar is called upon to sponsor a motion for the whole world to take a position on fighting corruption. His Excellency will be there before we get there. And after him, I may be leading the delegation at the conference. And we want to put this position of Ghana across to the whole world as to the best way to fight corruption. And so I'm happy that the House is giving us this signal. And I'll call upon my delegation to take copies of the Hansard as we move along to the conference next week. And so we are grateful to you, and we'll carry this message along. And this time around, the Constitutional Reforms Committee, led by Professor Prempe, will do the proper thing to make sure that we capture all these concerns and we get a better constitution, a more improved constitution than what we have implemented so far. The Constitution 1992 has done well. It has stabilized our democracy. It has taken us this far, but there is an urgent need to sharpen some of the tools, to restructure it for us to deliver what we all want. And so I thank you, and please, we have some very serious business to transact, I'm prepared to be here for some time. Minority Chief, I'm sorry, I want to curtail the discussion on this matter because I've given enough space to both sides to articulate their views. And since there's consensus on it, I don't want us to go back to it again. Yes, please.
I don't intend to take you back. I recall when we met at conclave, the leader of the House had nudged us that is a subject matter he wanted to raise, I think under Order 93. And in his absence, the same matter was raised by, and Speaker, because of your earlier direction, I don't intend to defy you at all. The Chief Whip, if the House will bear me out, raised same matter back and forth. There was a bit of an argument. I thought that we should do a proper thing. From where I said, it appears to me that it's just on the spur of the moment argument. If we could prepare and do a proper argument to this matter, otherwise it appears that we are rushing the matter. Because it is not with any disrespect to you. So probably we should engage more and come properly and have a proper debate on this subject matter. Then we can deal with it properly. That's all, Speaker, I felt I should say. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. We just need direction, and that is the direction I was giving. So what you're talking about, the need for preparation will definitely be done so that we have enough legal basis and moral authority to refine the existing legislation and even the practice and procedures of the House. So we did talk about all that. We will not just on the spur of the moment do a knee-jerk reaction, and mess up the situation. So please, let's continue with the business. We got to item 27. That was adopted. Now we're moving to, in fact, we even adopted item 28. We're now moving to item 29, where my attention was drawn that there are some other businesses they wanted to look at. So yes, Majority Chief.
Item number 29, we want to pray you to move to other paper addendum so we can take motion number 1. Mr. Speaker, humbly. Yes.
Honorable members, I thought I did say that at this moment, what we were doing was to adopting the reports of the committee. Yes, I'm just referring to the wordings of the motions that you have on the paper. I told the clerk at the table to look at it so that we will do the approvals when we are debating the appropriation bill. I thought that was the position. Do we agree to that? So that when they are moving the motion, they just amend it to adopt the report of the committee. Yes, so minority from bench, they want us to take the order paper addendum motion numbered 1.
Speaker, we are aligned. We are aligned.
So we may start with that motion 1, and that is the Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this Honorable House adopts the report of the committee and approve the sum of 39,233,795,022 for the services of the Ministry of Education for the year ending 31st December 2026. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, to highlight that Ghana's educational system needs a reset, and a reset by way of investment in structures and in standards from kindergarten through primary school, through secondary education to higher education. Mr. Speaker, of this amount, a chunk of it is dedicated to compensation because rightly and justifiably so, the Ghana Education Service has the largest workforce in Ghana. But, Mr. Speaker, government is determined to reset basic education and to increase investment in foundational learning. We currently are reviewing curriculum at that level to incorporate the teaching of ethics, and more importantly, even this morning, the President launched a STEM initiative where we are emphasizing investment on science, mathematics, and engineering education to support young people to develop critical minds and also be ready for problem solving. Mr. Speaker, Parliament is approving this budget at a time that the country is going through a very worrying development, with a significant number of Ghanaian students not faring well or not doing well in the West African certificate examination. Mr. Speaker, on this matter, I have requested for the examiner's report for a thorough study and analysis, and as and when it's appropriate, I'll come and brief this House as to what account for those. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the House approve 392337950022 for the services of the Ministry of Education. I beg to move.
Honorable members, we are dealing with our rules of procedure. I realize that what I introduced is accepted, but the wording is not yet refined. And so in such a situation where we are adopting the report of the committee, it has to be moved by the chair of the committee, and then the minister will come in. But because it wasn't put on the order paper, the minister has moved it, and it says, if I may read it to your hearing, that this Honorable House adopts the report of the Committee on Education on the allocation of the sum, and then the sum is captured on the order paper, for the services of the Ministry of Education for the year ending 31st December 2026. And so you insert after Honorable House adopts the report of the Committee on Education on the allocation of, then you continue, the sum of so and so. That will be the motion, and that is how all the rest will have to be recouched. And the chairman of the committees or a member by our rules could do so on behalf of the chairman, and then the ministers will then come in and also contribute like other members. Yes, Minority Chief.
So we are grateful for your guidance. I think then consequentially it must apply, because I recall all the earlier actions we've taken. It has variance with your
So I'll give the directive.
Yes. Yes.
After we have adopted this, then I will direct that it should have a consequential effect on all the motions that have been adopted by the House, so that we can have space to properly debate the appropriation bill, because you recall that it was a statement, and what you did, we said you were making comments. So you actually did not get time to debate, even though there was much difficulty between the comments and the debate. You know, we had a challenge with that. But in essence, what we said was that it was a statement and you were making comments. But you have to debate the policies and principles of the budget. And there are new policies that have been introduced, which have to be debated and approved by the House. And they are the executives who now go to implement what has been approved by the House. And so that is the way to go. But in the meantime, the Minister for Education has moved it. We'll adopt that, and then consequentially, the others will be moved by the chairman of the committee. So the chairman could now present the report, and will allow members to contribute. Yes, Chairman.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to present the report of your committee, the Committee on Education, on the 2026 annual estimates of the Ministry of Education. Mr. Speaker, before I read or present the report, I want to make a few corrections in the report. Page 3, item 7.0, line 4, reading from this amount to the end should be deleted from the report. Then again, same on page 4, line 3, from representing 99.8 to the end should also be deleted from the report. Then finally, on the table 3 on the same page 4, instead of revised, we should insert delete revised and put released. Mr. Speaker, I wish to appeal to the official report or Hansa to cover the entire report as having been read so that I can look at the observations and recommendations. Mr. Speaker, the committee found that most agencies under the Ministry of Education are logistically constrained. The logistics lacking include office space, basic office equipment such as computers and printers, vehicles and motorcycles. These include the National Schools Inspectorate Authority, the Complementary Education Agency, and the Ghana Library Authority. It was also noted that some agencies had inadequate human resources to effectively carry out their mandate. Some of these agencies include Center for National Distance Learning and Open Schooling, Ghana Commission for UNESCO, National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, the Ghana Library Authority, and the West African Examinations Council. Schools under trees. The committee, upon reviewing the causes of school under tree cases, found that most schools face disasters such as storms which removed the roofs of the school buildings, causing schools to use the leaves and shade of trees as shelter. To resolve this problem, the committee suggested that an emergency line should be added to the Get Fund formula to cater for the emergencies that destroy the school structure. Mr. Speaker, as I said, we have challenges also with the Procurement Authority, Act 2025, Act 1139, which has introduced in Section 24A the requirement of securing a mandatory commitment authorization from the Ministry of Finance prior to the procurement of related items. While the objective is commendable as part of broader efforts to strengthen fiscal discipline and curb the accumulation of arrears, the measure has had unintended consequences for the Ministry of Education and its agencies. The requirement for mandatory commitment authorization has resulted in significant delays in obtaining approvals. Combined with the absence of operational flexibility, these delays have restricted institutions' ability to act promptly and fulfill their mandate effectively. The committee, in view of the above challenges, the committee recommends a revision of Act 119 to remove the mandatory commitment authorization provision and introduce a more flexible framework. Mr. Speaker, conclusion. The 2026 budget estimates for the Ministry of Education represent a critical investment in the country's long-term human capital development. The achievements recorded across all levels of the education sector in 2025 financial year demonstrates clear progress in expanding access, strengthening quality, and promoting equity. These outcomes reflect the ministry's effective implementation of key policies and its commitment to addressing systemic challenges. The committee accordingly recommends to the House to adopt its report and approve the sum of 39,233,795.22 Ghana cedis as the 2026 budget estimates of the Ministry of Education to enable it consolidate its gains and advance the national objective of safeguarding Ghana's long-term socio-economic development through a well-educated and empowered population. I so submit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chairman, the last paragraph will then delete the "and approve" in view of what we stated earlier on. So it will be the committee accordingly recommends to the House to adopt its report on the allocation of the sum of 39 billion and it flows to the end. That should be the additional amendment to the report. Honorable members, the motion moved and seconded. Now, the ranking member. Sorry? You are the ranking member.
I'm the deputy ranking member.
Deputy ranking member. Yes, you may go on.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to on the Committee on Education report seeking for this House to adopt the report on the approval of the 39,233,795,022 Ghana cedis for the Ministry of Education for the year ending 31st December 2026. Mr. Speaker, let me use this opportunity to thank the Minister and the Deputy Minister and also all heads of agencies who took the committee through the various activities for the year 2025 budget year. Mr. Speaker, their cooperation helped us to understand the gains made and achievements made by the ministries and also the difficulties they face during the year. Mr. Speaker, the ministry made some progress in the 2025 budget year. For example, the no-fee stress policy. About over 200 applicants successfully applied for the no-fee stress policy, and out of these 200,000, 178,000 were validated, and about 151,000 actually received support from this no-fee stress policy. Mr. Speaker, the major concern for committee members has to do with releases. Mr. Speaker, and I have been a minister before, and when the budget processes, normally the ministry will engage the Ministry of Finance. We will engage the Ministry of Finance and the various priority areas that the ministry want to undertake in the budget year. Then when they agree that the Ministry of Finance will come to this August House to seek approval. Mr. Speaker, what baffles the members is that after these all approvals have been granted, when it comes to releases to the ministry, the various ministries, because of the decision that we took in this House, which is the PFM Act that we reviewed, it's a difficulty for the ministries, the various ministries to get their releases. For example, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the goods and services, for the year 2025, the Ministry of Education was appropriated 32 billion. And out of this 32 billion, capital expenditure, 1 billion. And the releases for the capital expenditure is 22 million out of 1 billion. And even the 22 million, only 10 million has been released. The actual payment. So this is very, very, very serious. And Mr. Speaker, it's not only to the Ministry of Education. I was on the Ministry of the Committee for Lands and Natural Resources. The same challenges that the ministries are facing. So I want to appeal to you that if it is possible for us to direct the Minister for Finance to come to this House. Mr. Speaker, why should ministries go through government policies, seek approval of Parliament, and we giving our mandate as a House to the Minister for Finance? I have no challenge at all. If the policy, that direction has to do with starting new project that is not budgeted for, then there shouldn't be any challenges. But when this is budgeted, approved by this House, and you have to go and seek commencement certificates, which will take a bureaucratic processes at the Ministry of Finance before these releases are made. Mr. Speaker, on this side, we don't have a challenge. We know that with this particular policy is going to retard progress, and this will lead to the defeat of the NDC come 2028. And we'll be very, very happy to see that. But we want to make sure that before they leave, there is progress. They should leave some legacies in the various ministries. Mr. Speaker, another thing that was also major concern to the committee members is the allocation of the 295 million Ghana cedi for the sanitary pad distribution to the school girls. Mr. Speaker, this is a very laudable policy that all members will support. But our position is that this money could be allocated to set up factories to produce this locally manufactured part, because you can't continue allocating 290 million year on year. Every year you allocate, instead of setting up factory to make sure that we can create jobs, at the same time we'll be able to achieve the objective of getting pad to our girls in the various schools. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding all these challenges, I want to urge all these members of this House, for us to approve, August House to approve the sum of 39 billion to adopt the sum of 39 billion to the Ministry of Education for the year ending 31st December 2026. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much.
Honorable members, I'm told there's no agreement or understanding on the number of people to contribute. So I'll use my discretion. Yes. Are you going to guide us on that or contribute?
Speaker, we want to pray that we take one more. Oh, please. Please. Speaker, one, then we take leadership. One, then we take leadership. That will be 4. So leaders can yield to the members.
Honorable members, we may have to not always take leaders too. Sometimes leaders, you have to give the opportunity to others behind you. We want to hear the voice of everybody. So always one leaders. No. Now we leave out the leaders and we'll be dealing with the backbenchers. Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, we can always rely on your wise counsel. So there have been other motions that we had done 1-1. So this one, clearly, the interest, you can see the interest is high. So we'll defer to the Speaker. The Speaker himself can exercise his discretion, maybe 3-3. And then those who are not willing to speak on this side, you can yield to us. You can yield to our people. Speaker, we are your hands. Speaker, we are squarely your hands, sir.
I would have loved it to be that number, but in view of the magnitude of the challenge to my right, I will be seen to be unfair. If not, I would have allowed many more to be coming from my left, since my right is ably represented by the chair and the ministers. But if we do that, because their number is so huge, a lot of them will remain mumus throughout the 4 years. And they will have problems at their constituencies. So I'll give them enough opportunity. So we take 3-3, but 5 minutes each.
Number 3 has won.
5 minutes each. Now, when your senior is on his feet now, he's your senior because he's minister. Even though you arrive at the same time. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to add my voice to the request by the Minister for Education for Parliament to approve the estimates and the amounts allocated to a sector in the budget. Mr. Speaker, supporting the Minister is absolutely the right thing to do in view of the magnitude of the work that he has undertaken in education over the last 11 months or so. Mr. Speaker, when the Mahama administration took over power, the education sector was severely challenged and constrained. We had a situation where basic education had been almost neglected. Mr. Speaker, for many academic terms or academic years, basic textbooks were not available to pupils in basic education. Mr. Speaker, we had a situation where, despite government's claims at the time that they were focusing on senior high school education, significant problems remained. Feeding had virtually become impossible at senior high school level. There was overcrowding. The academic calendar was plagued with inconsistency and an erratic situation. One could not tell when school was going to be open. Even the publication of the academic calendar became a huge challenge. We had an obnoxious double track under which students went to school for a short while and stayed home for longer periods. And then there were the issues with feeding, where the quality of food was poor and most often unavailable. At the tertiary level, there were serious challenges. So the work of the Mahama administration was cut out for it in the sector of education. Since the beginning of this year, we have seen tremendous improvements. Mr. Speaker, we have seen that at the very least, the problems that we saw with feeding at senior high school level have been overcome. Because under the leadership of President Mahama and through the hard work of the Minister for Education, the Honorable Ay3, close to 1.5 billion Ghana cedis has been released to finance the feeding of students in senior high school, which is something the previous government was unable to do. Mr. Speaker, in addition to this, very measurable interventions have been introduced to ensure that the problems plaguing basic education are addressed. Mr. Speaker, now capitation grant is paid on time. Monies for school feeding are paid promptly. And because of that, the problems that we saw in the past are no longer the case. Mr. Speaker, provision has been made in this budget for the printing of millions of textbooks for students at all levels of education, from basic to senior high school. Mr. Speaker, one of the most far-reaching interventions in tertiary education is currently being undertaken by this government. 151,000 first-year students benefited from the no-fee stress policy over the past academic year, and a similar number is set to receive similar interventions when the academic year opens. So, Mr. Speaker, there is cause to be excited about the future of education in Ghana. And I pray this House to give bipartisan support to the approval of these estimates in order that the agenda to build an education system that will stand the test of time, that will produce graduates that will be globally competitive, is realized. Mr. Speaker, this also shows that real tangible results are not achieved through mere slogans. That it is well and good to shout slogans, but if those slogans are not backed with concrete action, very little can be achieved. Because we cannot be shouting free SHS, when we cannot feed the students who are overflowing in the senior high schools. Mr. Speaker, even the issue of desks, chairs, and tables for students to sit on was a major problem. At the last reckoning before we came to power, there was a gap of over 2 million In other words, about 2 million desks were required in Ghanaian schools to make up for the number that was optimal. I am aware of a program which is highlighted in this budget to distribute 2 million school desks to Ghanaian schools. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, it has already begun. Only last Tuesday, the Laboni Senior High School, which is not too far from here, received over 3,000 desks. Indeed, over the last weekend, I myself presented close to 600 desks to the Abakrampa Senior High School, donated by the GET Fund. And this was out of a request of 1,000 desks that they made. The promptness, Mr. Speaker, the school requested for 1,000 desks, and within a matter of a month or two, GET Fund responded through the Ministry of Education by donating 600 desks to the school that had been deprived for years. And Mr. Speaker, this is the school that deserved the presentation, because for many years they had suffered the ignominy of not having desks for their students to sit on. So a lot is happening in education, which is resolving the fundamental problems that the poor policy implementation that the government that just left power supervised created. So I fully endorse the programs contained in the 2026 budget as far as the education sector is concerned. And I call on my colleagues to band together with us to ensure that we approve these estimates, because the future is exceedingly bright for Ghanaian education. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Yes, those in the Committee on Education. Yes, Reverend.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I rise to support the motion under discussion and to indicate that one of the most critical sectors we have in every economy in our country is the education sector. You get the education sector wrong, and the rest of the sectors will be challenged in the long term. Mr. Speaker, one sector among a few other sectors that should have been the priority of this government, but sadly, having been jettisoned to the background, is education. If you appoint a very experienced minister as Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and you deny him the resources and the budgetary releases to be able to function, the result is what we are seeing. A woeful decline in education outcomes. Mr. Speaker, the House should turn with me to page 4 of the report. And to effect, Mr. Speaker, to crave your indulgence to effect a correction on the table 7.2, the third column should not be 2025 revised budget, but it should be released. So, okay, so as corrected. Out of the 31.7 billion cedis allocated to the Ministry of Education for the year 2025, rather in a very disappointing outturn, only 19.1 billion. Only 19.1 billion was released. Mr. Speaker, a total of 12 billion are in arrears, have not been released. How do you expect the education sector to function? It is ailing. It is dysfunctional. With 12 billion deficits, you only put the minister in a handicapped position. The Honorable Minister for Government Communication is indicating that his constituency alone has benefited from 600 desks, just one man. He went and distributed that. Instead of releasing the money to the Minister of Education to ensure equitable distribution of furniture, of education material, you hold back the releases and individuals. 600 desks to one constituency. Ask the backbench, Adam Agbana, ask the rest of the backbench. How many desks were they able to send to their schools? None. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the declining nature of education outcome, it must be a worry. In the year 2015, only 2% of our peoples in this country, only 2% of peoples at P2 could read by the EGRA assessment. We managed to invest heavily into the education sector from all levels, particularly foundational level. We took it to minimum 38% by 2023. Do we want to go back to the era where only 2% pupils were reading? On WASI outcomes, Mr. Speaker, when we talk about the quality of education, we have world-class indicators, undisputed, that we use to measure education outcomes, to know how well our education is doing. When we have bequeathed to you a WASI pass rate of English, core maths, integrated science, and social science, just as recent as 2023, 73.11% of our people, of our WASI candidates passing English, integrated science, 66.82%, mathematics, 62.3%, social studies, 76.7%, past A1 to C6. Under your watch, you have taken mathematics to 48.873%. Mr. Speaker, the dangerous thing about this resource is that more than half of our children who sat WASI will be denied opportunity to enter any tertiary institution. More than half. Over 52% of our learners will have to sit home. Their parents will have to pay several thousands of cedis for research, because you are not releasing money to the Ministry of Education to undertake. You promise, you are talking about feeding, you promise headmasters that if they vote for you, you will send money directly to them so that they feed the students. You even promise, President Mahama promised that, so that they will go and buy aponche and do aponche kakra for our students, only for them to come to power. They released for just a few months, and the releases stopped. And then they reverted to buffer stock for some time. Now, as we speak, another directive went that because the suppliers of buffer stock are old in arrears, the government can no longer go to them to supply food. So the headmasters should now go and face suppliers and credit more food so that our students can have something to eat. Mr. Speaker, I have taken the pain to visit some of the schools, and if you see the kind of food our students are eating, it is terrible. Why? Because they are refusing to release 12 billion cedis to the minister. How do you expect Honorable Harun Idrisu to maintain decent feeding system when 12 billion is in arrears? Mr. Speaker, on double track, they promised that when they come into power, immediately they will end double track. The moment they got into power, they said, we are deferring to 3 years. Honorable Kwachi Fosu should tell us which additional space they have created in our secondary schools. He was talking about overcrowding. He should point to us even a single additional space they have created within this period. Release money to the minister. 12 billion in arrears, Mr. Speaker, is unacceptable. I do not think that the Speaker himself will be excited about this. Mr. Speaker is a heavy continental advocate for education. He will not countenance 12 billion in arrears. It is an ailing sector. Mr. Speaker, you need resources to drive outcomes. Now, if we take out Gallup, that is a donor-funded program transforming over 10,000 least performing schools. If you take that intervention out, what is left of our education sector? Commitment from the government. So we are urging that the 39 billion cedis that is allocated in this budget, whilst we even think that it is inadequate, we are urging this government that the best course of action is to ensure 100% release to the minister to ensure that we have commensurate outcomes. A few years ago, our students from Memphis Girls and Prempeh could go to the United States of America and compete in robotics and STEM and become first, beating their compatriots from Singapore, Australia, and Canada. Today, what is the story? All the STEM schools that were under construction, the 11 that were able to commission, the rest that are left are still as it is. What we see is relaunch upon relaunch. And the sad thing is that after the minister has most enthusiastically relaunched certain programs, the funding that must go with it is locked up in the bosom of Honorable Ampim and his boss. Mr. Speaker, let the Finance Ministry release. Education it must not be locked up at Finance Ministry. It must be released to the Education Ministry. I know the competence of Honorable Haruna Idrisu. It is never in doubt. Even at the age of 39, we know the wonders he did at Ministry of Communication. But why is the education sector ailing now? Because 12 billion cedis is in arrears. But once we look at the finances, we must also turn our attention to the relevance of our education system. When we talk about having a serious look at the various factors that are accounting for this, we were expecting a very patriotic approach. But what we see is government machinery released. And all we hear is because, and a blame game given to the teachers. That teachers cheated in the past. Teachers abetted WASI candidates in the past. And that is the reason why we have stellar performances of our children. That is most regrettable. That is most regrettable. The same teachers we have 3 years ago are the same teachers. And we must put on record that the biggest partners of our education success story has been our teachers. They supported the creditable implementation of free SHS. They ensure the holistic development of every child that passed through our public education system. So if today you are even failing to release their allowances to them, and you are deferring, this will be the first year that teachers' allowances are being deferred. So if you are refusing to pay our teachers, do not blame this rather appalling performance on the teacher. If the teacher is supported, he will deliver instruction. If the students are also supported and prepared adequately, they will face the examination with confidence. And they will get back to the days when the topmost 3 people who became the topmost performers in the whole of West Africa, beating Nigeria, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, were Ghanaians. Today, only 48% of them are passing mathematics. Could it be that they are putting a natural ceiling to how many people must access their no-stress fee? Yes. So that if they restrict the number of people who will be able to pass to go to tertiary, then they will have space enough to cater for them. If that is not the case, your data of financial performance does not support it. Because if your history is 12 billion in arrears, then anybody will easily believe. I might doubt, but everybody will easily believe that you want more of our students to fail, so that less will make it to the tertiary, so that your burden of your own promise, no stress fee, will be abysmal. Mr. Speaker, we want to indicate we are ever ready to support them to get back our ailing education sector outcomes back on track. We are ready to support. Ghana is all we have. Our students are brilliant. Our teachers are dedicated. Our minister is competent. The only thing left is the budgetary releases. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you, the Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the committee's report on the budget. Mr. Speaker, a budget is more than a fiscal outline of expenditure and expected revenue. It is also a mirror of our national priorities. And indeed, when you take a look at the 2026 budget and the budgetary allocation to the Ministry of Education, one does not need a soothsayer to predict that indeed President John Dramani Mahama is the president who cares about our educational sector and is committed to improving the quality of education. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the budgetary allocation to the ministry, it provides answers to all the 3 core metrics, that universally are used in judging a country's educational system. The first one is accessibility, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in this budget, government has provided for the construction of 200 new primary schools, 200 new junior high schools, 400 teachers' bungalows, and also 200 new kindergarten schools. It is important to expand access to education And when we talk about access and expansion of accessibility, President Mahama and the Honorable Haruna Idrisu have demonstrated that indeed, beyond words, we are committed to expanding access. And that is why the budget has made adequate allocation for the construction of these new schools to provide accessibility for especially people in the rural communities. Mr. Speaker, the second metric is affordability. Mr. Speaker, the previous government indeed touted free SHS as their biggest achievement. At a point in time, even when you complain of headache, they will tell you that their solution is free SHS. When you complain about poor nature of roads in our constituencies, they responded that we are implementing free SHS. When market women were complaining about the high costs of doing business, their response was free SHS. But indeed, when you even check their response or the actual performance of the previous regime with regards to free SHS, it was nothing but an abysmal performance. Mr. Speaker, they can be akin to parents who gave birth without making adequate preparation to take care of their children. And indeed, they, at a point in time, even feeding, common feeding in our senior high schools was a big challenge, Mr. Speaker. But under this government, we have dedicated source of funding for the free SHS program. Mr. Speaker, today, our brothers and sisters, our children in the senior high schools are actually complaining that they are being overfed. And some of them are complaining that indeed the food that they are feeding on today is more than they expected. Today, in this budget, 4.2 billion has been allocated to the free SHS program, and our brothers and sisters in senior high schools will not face those challenges. The question is, if you say that we are not committing much to education, what was your record in terms of funding the free SHS program that you tout? Shambolic record by all standards. Mr. Speaker, the third area or metric is quality. Mr. Speaker, under the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, we have seen improvement in the quality of education. And in terms of improvement, Mr. Speaker, it is not only about WASI results that today they want us to talk about, because WASI results, we have been told, will be fully discussed in this house. But we are talking about training and capacity building for teachers. We're talking about the provision of teaching and learning materials to students across our schools. We're talking about the fact that today, when you visit public schools, especially the tertiary institutions, Mr. Speaker, persons living with disability are today going to benefit from free tertiary education. What more can we ask for than this? That today, if you are a Ghanaian living with disability, cost of education, funding, the school fees can no more become a barrier for you. Mr. Speaker, this must be commended. Again, Mr. Speaker, the no fee stress policy. As a member of parliament from a constituency that can be considered very rural, Mr. Speaker, there are many people from my constituency who got admissions to tertiary institutions, but because of the high cost of education at that level, they were unable to pursue tertiary education. Today, under President Mahama and the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, these students in public schools have the opportunity to go to school without paying the academic facility user fees. Mr. Speaker, this is true investment in our children, true investment in education. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the budget, yes, it is true that when you look at the entire education ministry, we can be Oliver Twist and ask for more because the challenges are more. But even with the little that the minister was given in the year 2025, we cannot trace the outcome of government's performance in education. And Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I would want to say that I find it surprising that our brothers or our colleagues on the other side today are talking about government's commitment to funding education, when indeed their scorecard is here with us. Mr. Speaker, when they talk about performance of students at WASI, instead of buying textbooks, they were buying past questions. They were buying past questions. And the Honorable Reverend, who today is complaining that you were the deputy minister, instead of buying past questions, instead of buying textbooks, you were only interested in buying past questions. And indeed, on record, You and your minister were only interested in buying past questions for our children, instead of supplying them with textbooks. Mr. Speaker, again, this was when the NPP was in power, Mr. Speaker, when the NPP was in power, apart from the shortage of food in our senior high schools, Mr. Speaker, the few schools who had the opportunity to get food, we all had a report of maggot-infested food being supplied to them. But you don't hear that today in our senior high schools. Clearly, President John Dramani Mahama and Honorable Ay3 are taking time to invest properly in our education. Mr. Speaker, looking at the outlook for 2026, one other thing that excites me is the fact that government intends to build 3 new public universities. Mr. Speaker, today we want to ensure that Ghanaians all over do not face any barrier in their access to tertiary education. And it's important that government be supported to implement this budget so that the 3 new universities, we are told one will be in OT, one will be in the Bono East region, and one will be in, I think, the Northeast region and Ahafo region. Mr. Speaker, this must be supported. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, there is something also very exciting in the budget. It is the fact that the ministry is planning to upgrade some Category C schools and B schools into Category A. Mr. Speaker, when you go to the whole Northeast region, as we speak today, there is no single Category A school. And so for the ministry to take it upon itself to invest in upgrading senior high schools from Category C, B to Category A, and 30 schools will be benefiting from this project, this is commendable, and President Mahama and the Honorable Ay3 must be commended. Mr. Speaker, I pray for a bipartisan support for the adoption of this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the adoption of the report on the 2026 annual budget estimates of the Ministry of Education. Mr. Speaker, before I go on, I would like us to go to paragraph 8.8, specifically 8.8.1. Mr. Speaker, the ministry recorded considerable growth in enrollment of students in TVET with an increase from 47,000 students in 2021-2022 academic year. Over the years to reach, Mr. Speaker, it's not 183. It's rather, if you look at the 2024-2025 academic year, it's rather 69,000 students. So that needs to be corrected. Then also 8.8.3. Mr. Speaker, the ministry is yet to start the construction of these TVET centers, and this one also needs to be corrected. Even though one that was supposed to be at in Ashanti region at Mansour Bori has been relocated to Salaga, that is fine with us. So the ministry will also have to recorrect that as well. Mr. Speaker, everybody believes in education. All of us are here in this hollow chamber because of education. It's quite unfortunate that our honorable member just talked about, instead of buying textbooks, we bought past questions. Mr. Speaker, I believe in evidence-based practice, and the data doesn't support it. The question is, what happened? What really happened that we have less than 50% of our students passing maths? You know why, Mr. Speaker? The ministry promised to spend almost 564 million on textbooks. Unfortunately, 564 million point 6 on textbooks. Unfortunately, none was done. None has been spent. None has been spent in the year 2025. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the MPP's performance in 2024, the MPP spent 33.6 billion cedis for education as compared to 19 point something. Mr. Speaker.
Just a minute. Actually, I wanted the debate to flow. No interruption. Chairman, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to clear an issue he has just mentioned that the ministry said they were going to spend about 500 million on textbooks. It is in Get Fund formula for 2025, not in the ministry budget. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes,
I would like
please.
to refer to the 2025 budget, paragraph 380. And it says that, Mr. Speaker, we have also allocated an amount of 564.4 million for comprehensive provision of curricular-based textbooks covering the following: 4 sets of KG books with workbooks for 2.8 million, 4 sets of primary textbook for 800,000 learners, then 9 sets of JHS textbooks for 540,000 learners. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, when you come to the 2026 budget, these numbers have been lifted, put in here, and unfortunately also have reduced even that of primary to 1 million. So no wonder we are seeing what we are seeing. So, Mr. Speaker, the evidence doesn't support what the ministry is saying, because the investment that is supposed to go into education is not going. Mr. Speaker, for the first time, intervention allowance for teachers are not being paid. Mr. Speaker, if you look at I had a time to go through every single agency within the Ministry of Education, their budget, and I compared that of 2025 to that of 2026. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, you realize that people were paid to stay in offices doing nothing, because nothing was given for capex, neither was it being given for goods and services. That means that there's no reason why we're expecting anything better in the results of our WASI students, because it's the same performance. And Mr. Speaker, in fact, if you look at this year, the number of students whose exams or results have been withheld is so high. So the fact that people were not properly invigilated or they were allowed not to cheat it's untenable. It's, in fact, it even goes to confirm that probably there was more cheating in these exams than has been done in the past, if you are looking at the data. But, Mr. Speaker, we have been told that WAEC is going to meet the committee, and then we can have a better interrogation into this. Mr. Speaker, then when you go further, you realize that the ministry, as far as its commitment to basic education, cannot be assured. Why? Because, Mr. Speaker, the same textbook that was supposed to have been printed in 2025 is the same thing that has been lifted for 2026. So what is the trust and where is the credibility here if we keep repeating the same thing? Then, Mr. Speaker, one thing that has been put in this 2026 budget that is going to kill private sector is the insistence that the former assembly press should be made mandated to print these textbooks. Whether they have the capacity, I don't have problem. But we are in a competitive country where we expect that private sector create jobs. Unfortunately, this budget is going to kill the private sector. 564 million is being only given to a government, one company already. Where is the fairness here? Where is the transparency? It has to be competitive. We should allow the private sector to be able to participate so that they can create more jobs. We want jobs for our youth. Already, people have been sacked at the beginning of 2025. Meanwhile, we are trying to also kill the private sector so that they can create jobs. If this is made competitive, Mr. Speaker, then of course we'll be able to print these textbooks and we'll be able to also improve on performance. Mr. Speaker, one another reason why you realize that the performance of our students was very poor is the fact that the Minister of Education on the 25th of June stood in this house and stated categorically that we are going to employ 50,000 instructors to support education. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Zero. Nothing happened. Zero. So, Mr. Speaker, if we intend to support education and to improve on the human capital of this country, Mr. Speaker, then we have to walk the talk, and we have to talk as we walk. If we cannot just be putting figures and be just putting figures for nothing, but rather we should make sure that everything that we put for education, that is the base of our development and everything that we do. And we expect that once we approve this budget for the ministry, it will be released for the ministry for them to work. And one other important thing is that the fact that most agencies across all the ministries that we have met, they don't have the opportunity to utilize their CAPEX or their goods and services because of commitment authorization. Mr. Speaker, when we were passing this bill, our friends on the other side, the majority said, yeah. Now they are all crying. We need to review this so that this country can move forward. MPP is ready to come back in 4 years, but we want to make sure that we keep moving as a country so that when we come, we can continue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, I proceed to put the question. We've had enough. We've had enough on education. Minister, if you have something to say.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank honourable members for the issues raised, but to assure my colleagues on the other side, I heard my honourable colleague talk about printing of textbooks. We are not as wasteful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are reviewing curriculum from kindergarten to junior high school, and therefore it was not prudent to be paying to print books when you are reviewing curriculum. However, the GET fund sufficiently even spent on a number of the textbooks. Mr. Speaker, we have not departed from the pledge we made in our manifesto to give out funding to CHAS, the Conference of Heads of Assessed Secondary Schools, and the GES to fund school feeding. So far, 1.1 billion was directly released to CHAS and the GES for the procurement of food. And students are enjoying better food than it was. In many instances, Mr. Speaker, you had to postpone reopening of schools because you had no food to supply to the secondary schools. That has not been the case under President Mahama. Mr. Speaker, whilst thanking members, Mr. Speaker, let me assure you that we are working to end double track system. A number of schools, including one secondary school, will be upgraded to Category A school. Mr. Speaker, we have received funding of $180 million from the World Bank to convert a number of Category C schools to B, 10 Category B schools to A, and expand infrastructure in a number of the Category A schools. With quality improvement, Mr. Speaker, we will be able to improve what they left behind. Mr. Speaker, I do not intend to make comments uninformed on the outcome of an examination, but to emphasize that strict invigilation, strict monitoring and supervision contributed to some discipline in the conduct of the WASSCE exams. But without prejudice to the West Africa Exam Council examiners report, I will not go further on this matter. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by saying that Otumfuo Asantehene at the UST congregation reminded government about the teaching hospital at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. It's a pledge President Mahama will work in 2026 and make sure that it becomes functional into 2026. We will complete the teaching hospital, equip it with over $38 million and pay the outstanding $46 million owed the contractor to be able to complete the work. And as was observed by the Honorable Adam, Mr. Speaker, a number of public universities will be established in the course of the year. Bunsu, the University for Engineering and Agric, will take off. Our colleague is looking for a university in the Mampong area in Obuasi that is being reviewed. Jasikan, Damangu, and Damba will also benefit from higher institutions of learning. The President has dedicated 30 million of the award he got from China into the establishment of a science and technology university in Damangu. So once again, Mr. Speaker, let me assure our colleagues that even though the ministry directly did not get adequate funding, Free Senior High School was adequately funded from the GET fund. And then, Mr. Speaker, finally, my colleague Vincent, I've seen you misleading the public on sanitary pass. I personally shared the contract award letter with you because I'm a consummate, transparent person. You're still telling the public that sanitary pads was bought for 44 cedis. That is untrue today. That is untrue tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, we procured 12 million. And I personally walked to you. If you want to show your WhatsApp, I shared an award letter of 19 to 21 cedis as a unit price of a sanitary pad with you. Yet you will have that evidence and still go telling the public that they were procured at 44 cedis. I respected you when I shared that with you.
Minister, you mentioned his name.
Yes.
He's on his feet. Let's listen to him. Yes, please.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I thought at this juncture I have been able to put these matters into proper perspective, especially because every document that I have referred to are his document. There hasn't been any document, not even a single document, that I have been able to, as it were, stated which document is not coming from the ministry. Every document that I have stated, every document that I have made reference to is from 2025 and 2026. Mr. Speaker, it is true that indeed in the 2025 budget, the Ministry of Education stated that they have supplied 6.6 million sanitary pads. These are numbers that are not coming from me. It is also true that in the 2026 budget, he stated that they are going to use 292 million to purchase the parts. This is also a document from him. It is not a document coming from me. And so the calculations that were made are calculations based on their own document. I have not conjured even a single document from anywhere. Mr. Speaker, it is also important for me to also state that no document has been shared from him to me.
Member, don't.
I have written an RTI. Mr. Speaker, I have written an RTI 3 months down the lane.
Honorable Member, I gave you the opportunity.
Yes.
So when I'm drawing your attention, please listen.
Right.
Please. You raise a point of order. The point of order was based on the fact that he mentioned your name. And he mentioned your name with respect to one item, which he said he sent to your WhatsApp. And so that was the reason why you raised the point of order. To respond to that, now you are re-arguing your case. All what you are saying, you have submitted before this House. And on the record, they are in the official report. But respond to the specific matter, he raised your name. That is all.
Right Honorable Speaker, it is indeed true that an assistant of his, when he called, that a letter was being sent to my phone. I checked the letter, and indeed, the amount that was on that letter that was sent to me was about 23 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, these are numbers that they themselves have already said here on the floor of Parliament.
You said 23 Ghana cedis.
Around 23 Ghana cedis for one sanitary pad. And I am also suggesting that these are figures I have already said, that even if it is 23 Ghana cedis, there is still an overspending. It is still a chobo activity, because when you go to the market and you are buying one sanitary pad, you will get it 15 Ghana cedis. And if you are buying 12.2 million sanitary pad, you are still saying that you are buying it for 12 point what? You are buying it for 23 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, that cannot be the case. So I have not changed any document to Australia from anywhere. Whatever he himself is saying is what I'm speaking to. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, you just reminded me. I think due to my ignorance about the meaning of chobo, you got away with it the other day. After the session, I was educated by so many people that chobo is actually an unparliamentary word, because the meaning they told me had to do with dishonesty. corruption. And I didn't understand it at that time, and I permitted it. Your colleagues have confirmed it here. So are you saying they also are lying to me? Please, let's don't deceive people. Actually, I didn't understand that Chobo meant such what you call by our standing orders. You are imputing at that time improper motives. And so by our standing orders, that is what? Unparliamentary. Okay? But I didn't understand it, so I allowed it. So I don't want you to continue to use it again because it's an unparliamentary word. Minister, you may conclude.
Mr. Speaker, as I indicated, GET Fund, because it has been uncapped, have been able to perform the new responsibility of financing free senior high school, and they will complete work on the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. This year, 4.2 billion has been allocated for the fund to fund the free senior high school. And Mr. Speaker, we're also allocating, when the formula gets here, 100 million Ghana cedis to be dedicated to provide all learners with special needs free education under President Mahama's research to expand access to inclusive quality education. I thank you and I thank honorable members, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the report as captured on the order paper item 29, no, not 29. Order paper addendum. Order paper addendum 1. Motion number 1. Say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, may I humbly say that the order paper is actually order paper addendum. Order paper
exactly
addendum.
What I said.
Okay. Speaker.
Initially, I referred to the order paper, but I corrected myself by saying order paper addendum.
Mr. Speaker, may I pray that we go back to the original order paper and take motion number 29. Motion number 29. Yes. I'm waiting for.
Honorable members, motion number 29 on the original order paper. Sorry, Minority Chief Whip.
May I bring this to the notification of our Chief Whip, that it's for a very good reason that our servicemen are here. And there has been a lot of consultation in that regard. We love our servicemen. You know, okay, so if it is a decision, Finance Minister, I thought there was a decision that we should take that first to item. Yes. And we don't want our servicemen to be waiting for far too long.
Yes,
so, Speaker,
Minority Chief Whip.
I want to plead with the...
That was the message I also got.
Yes.
That we'll move to those items.
Yes.
And
Speaker,
so I thought that is where we're going.
So, Chief Whip, let's take that.
Yes, please.
Speaker, may I pray that we go to order paper addendum 2 and lay item number 1B. Yeah, addendum 2. 1B. 1B.
Honorable members,
sorry.
Kindly refer to order paper addendum 2.
D.
Presentation of papers.
Speaker.
As item 1, presentation of papers. 1B.
Speaker, 1 Delta. 1D.
D.
D, Delta, yes. D, I, DI, and DII.
Honorable members, yes, Minority Chief.
Speaker, we are aligned.
Honorable members, item 1D, D, Roman 1 and 2 can be taken together by the chairman of the committee.
Reports of the Committee on Defense and Interior on the contract agreement between Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Defense, and Airbus Helicopter France for an amount of 125,965,974 euros for the supply of 1 H-160 and 3 H-175 helicopters for the Ghana Air Force.
Honorable members, the said report is laid and presented accordingly and for distribution to all members of Parliament. Now you go to Roman 2. Now you go to Roman 2.
Report of the Committee on Defense and Interior on the sale and purchase contract agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Defense, and Dassault Aviation France for an amount of $60,680,000 United States dollars for the acquisition of 1 Falcon 6X for the Ghana Air Force.
Honorable members, the said report is also presented to the House and for distribution to all members of Parliament. Yes, which item? We now take which item?
Speaker, may I pray that we take motion number 17 and the order paper addendum 2. Humbly submitted, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, we would humbly take 17 and 20 together, Mr. Speaker.
Can my good friend, what he mentions, the 17 is supposed to be a procedural motion. And I'm wondering why he's adding the other one. Why are you taking the two together? Why 2 procedural motions? Explain to the House.
Speaker, it's just an indication that when we take the procedural, we'll take the substantive in 20. So, Mr. Speaker, we'll take the 17. So let's take the 17.
And I know he's a master of procedure, but he appears to be fatigued. We should take the 17. Then the House will decide on that procedural motion before we go to the substantive. You can't take the 2 substantive together. I know you are tired. You are clearly tired.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not tired at all. It's just an indication.
Yes, Minister for Finance.
Right Honourable Speaker, motion number 17 is a procedural motion, same as motion number 20. The Speaker, motion advertised as item 20 is also a procedural motion. And Mr. Speaker, we have to take it together because the memorandum, the committee's report combined the two. Combine the two. And so we are suggesting that if you are to take procedural motion 17, you should accordingly take procedural motion 20. Then we will now come and take the main motion 18 and then 21, the two motions together. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
So, Speaker, that is a better explanation because the report is one for the two items. That is why he wants to take that. Now we are with you. You know, we, the minority, we pay particular attention to details. And so, Speaker, we are watching them with an eagle eye.
You can't stop him from playing his role. So if he says he's watching you with an eagle eye, you should take it serious. So he's doing so. Please, we are to take the two procedural motions together, items 17 and 20. Chairman of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that, notwithstanding the provision of Order 1041 of the Standing Orders, which requires that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given, the motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Defense and Interior on the contract agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Defense, and Airbus helicopter SAS France for an amount of 125,965,974 euros for the supply of 1 H-160 and 3 H-175 helicopters for the Ghana Air Force may be moved today. I hereby move.
You haven't finished.
Mr. Speaker, I would also beg to move that
you don't need to beg to move again.
Motion.
You just go on to, and on the sale and purchase contract agreement.
Very well.
20.
Mr. Speaker, and motion number 20, captured on page 11 of the order paper addendum, that notwithstanding the provision of Order 1041 of the Standing Orders, which requires that the motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given, the motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Defense and Interior on the sale and purchase contract agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Defense, and Dassault Aviation France, for an amount of $60,680,000 United States dollars for the acquisition of 1 Falcon 6X for the Ghana Air Force. I so move.
Honorable members, this is a procedural motion taken together. So I put the question. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. And so we'll proceed now to move the The clerk has drawn my attention that we are going too fast. The motion has to be seconded. And we did not take the seconded. Yes, please.
The procedural motion was not seconded.
Yes.
It wasn't seconded.
Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion. Thank you.
Motion moved and seconded for the consideration of the House. Being a procedural motion, I put the question. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. We now move to the substantive motion numbered 18 and 21. That will be by the chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this Honorable House adopt the report of the Committee on Defense and Interior on the contract between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Defense, and Airbus helicopter, SAS, France, for an amount of 125,965,974 euros for the supply of one H-160 and three H-175 helicopters for the Ghana Air Force. Mr. Speaker, I also move that this Honorable House adopts the report of the Committee on Defense and Interior on the sale and purchase contract agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Defense and Dassault Aviation, France, for an amount of 60,680,000 United States dollars for the acquisition of one Falcon 6X for the Ghana Air Force. Mr. Speaker, I would ask for your leave to present the report of the Committee on Defense and Interior on these two subjects. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I would pray that the Hansa Department captures the report in full, whilst I touch on the salient points. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Member, I think the report is available. Members will have all gone through it. And you know the subject matter we are dealing with. Unless there is good reason, we want you to go to the recommendations and conclusion so that we can move on. Is that the sense of the House? Yes, so please, Chairman, you may do so.
Very well, Mr. Speaker, I'm most grateful. Mr. Speaker, the committee at page 5 of the report noted by way of observations that the proposed 4 aircraft and 1 executive jet, together with associated support and services, were obtained from Airbus Helicopter and Dassault Aviation with key requirements, which included the cost of aircraft, reliability, operational efficiency, safety, and desired technical specialization. The committee observed further that the proposed helicopters and jets are designed for versatility, offering superior performance in executive and troop transport, logistics support, and humanitarian operations. These aircraft have extended range, payload capacity, and modern avionics, which gives them an edge over the previous generation aircraft, which would enable rapid deployment in support of Gulf's counter-terrorism, border and maritime security operations, etc. Mr. Speaker, the committee was also informed that extensive stakeholder consultations were undertaken with the Ministry of Finance, the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, and the Ghana Air Force. Additionally, internal engagements were held with relevant services within the Ghana Armed Forces, as well as the Office of the President. These consultations were aimed at ensuring legal clarity, financial feasibility, operational suitability, and alignment with national security priorities prior to the proposed acquisition. The committee recommends that the government continues to strengthen interagency coordination throughout the procurement and implementation process to ensure transparency, cost effectiveness, and operational efficiency. Mr. Speaker, the committee further noted that the long-term economic benefits of procuring the new aircraft outweigh the associated costs. It was evident that the continued reliance on the aging Mi-17 helicopter fleet and the Falcon 900EX aircraft has become financially unsustainable and operationally inefficient for the Ghana Air Force. Over a projected 15-year service life, the total life cycle cost of the proposed new fleet is estimated to be 30 to 40% lower than the cost of maintaining and operating the existing aging aircraft. The committee also observed that the current practice of leasing aircraft from external providers not only exerts pressure on the nation's limited foreign exchange resources, but also exposes sensitive state movements and security-related operations to third parties, posing potential risks. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the committee arrived at the conclusion that the acquisition of the 4 helicopters and 1 aircraft, together with associated support and services for the Ghana Air Force, will undoubtedly retool and ensure safety, efficiency, and strategic mobility for the country. The committee, by consensus, recommend to the House to adopt its report and approve 1, contract agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Defense, and Airbus Helicopter SAS France, for an amount of 125,965,974 euros for the supply of 1 H-160 and 3 H-175 helicopters for the Ghana Air Force, and 2, sale and purchase contract agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Defense, and Dassault Aviation France, for an amount of $60,680,000 United States dollars for the acquisition of 1 Falcon 6X for the Ghana Air Force. Mr. Speaker, I move accordingly.
Honorable members, motion moved. Any seconder?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion, and in so doing, to indicate the urgent need for which this whole country will have to stand united with the Ghana Armed Forces and support the efforts of applying some of our modest resources as a state to enhancing the air capabilities of our Ghana Armed Forces. Mr. Speaker, this is a need that is not a need of today. Indeed, it's a need of yesterday, and it's indeed of yesteryears. And when this part of the House, Mr. Speaker, on countless occasions, attempted to bring our colleagues in the NDC along for us to take a proper look at investing into our Ghana Armed Forces, it became a taboo. It became a taboo which propaganda was waged by NDC MPs. It became a taboo in this country for one to even suggest befitting platforms for our Air Force. Mr. Speaker, enough of the politics. I believe that this is a new dawn and a time that has come that an opposition side of Parliament is doing the patriotic thing of supporting what is good for the state and what is good for the Ghana Armed Forces. This, the Hansard must capture. Mr. Speaker, you recall this House that the legacy of the MPP and the commitment of the MPP in retooling our Ghana Armed Forces way back 2008 when President Kufuor saw the need to be able to equip our Air Force with modernized fleets and even for a long-haul aircraft, a wider body aircraft, and for a short-haul aircraft to be procured. A similar agreement was submitted before this very House. The same agreement was approved. Subsequent to that, $38 million was paid as part payment for the acquisition of 2 aircraft, a Falcon and a wider body aircraft. Because the government of the day lost power in 2008, the new government took over and failed to see through to that commitment. And as a matter of fact, only committed to one, which is the Falcon which we are talking about today. If the government of the day, the opposition at the time, had been committed as this side is, we would have had 2 aircrafts, one long haul and one short haul. And today there would not be a need to have the conversation we are going to have. Mr. Speaker, this House again is not opposed. Even before the sad August 6th disaster, which was a national tragedy, we had advanced the argument that the fleet of the Ghana Armed Forces are aging. There's a need for us to revamp them and replace them. Let's invest in it. We had members of NDC, members of parliament, sitting on various platforms, sending and signaling their warning and caution that even if the Falcon we are talking about, which is an aircraft belonging to the military, which is the executive platform for travels by the president, has, my good brother, Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Ablakwa, said that even if one engine is faulty, the remaining engines are fit to fly the president. But today we will support him so that we'll buy a befitting aircraft that he will accompany the president to fly on. We will put his safety and the safety of the president in priority so that he can safely travel and conduct business on behalf of the state and return safely in the most patriotic way. But Mr. Speaker, we are concerned about safety. And in terms of safety, we want to put it on record that this agreement is taking into consideration key recommendations made by the helicopter crash report, which experts advised and recommended that in any event that this state is going to invest into our Air Force, we take into considerations modern avionic features. We ensured by due diligence that the 4 helicopters that are going to be procured from Airbus meet the requirements by Captain Fojo and his team. Mr. Speaker, we also did further checks, and we ascertained that indeed the performance guarantee that is required to ensure the sustenance of these aircraft are not in doubt. But we would want to urge the acting Minister for Defense, who must soon give way for a substantive Minister for Defense. The acting Minister for Defense, who must soon give way for a substantive Minister for Defense, to be particular about following up. to be particular about every agreement that we have insisted upon, because this agreement, as we have it, was negotiated and scrutinized in the best interest of the Ghanaian taxpayer by the Committee on Defense and Interior. Mr. Speaker, it is interesting to know that we are going to have our pilots who are going to be assigned to the various platforms for training and to ensure that, as formidable as they are, as competent as they are, they also refresh their competencies with these key and specific platforms. Mr. Speaker, the Falcon is not new to this country, because the current Falcon 900EX, which we have, which, in the words of our friends from the NDC, is in pristine condition. And in their words, a few months ago, was one of the best in Africa, requiring no replacement, is the same and similar Falcon contained in this agreement. Mr. Speaker, we support this in no doubt, but one would have expected that if a time had come for us to purchase aircraft for the Air Force, we need to purchase a long-haul aircraft, an aircraft that can minimum carry about 40 to 70 passengers, so that when the president is traveling, his key ministers and aides and accompanying investors will be able to all find space on the same aircraft. But they criticize the short haul, and they are going to purchase a short haul. They criticize a short haul flight, and a short haul flight is what they are going to also purchase. Mr. Speaker, when you come to the budget statement and the economic policy as was presented by my good friend and neighbor, Honorable Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, page 136, paragraph 1091, in the words of the Finance Minister, Mr. Speaker, and I quote, "The Ghana Air Force will be retooled beginning 2026. The government of Ghana will begin the procurement processes for the acquisition of 4 modern helicopters, 1 long-range and 1 medium-range aircraft." Mr. Speaker, what is contained in this agreement is the short range. We want to hold the minister to account that his words are documented in the budget and captured in Hansard. We would ensure that we exercise oversight to ensure that the commitment made to purchase 1 long-haul aircraft and 1 short-haul aircraft are not jettisoned. Mr. Speaker, is it not surprising that our side today are not opposing 2 aircraft purchases? Is it not patriotic that an opposition is supporting the purchase of 4 helicopters and 2 aircrafts? We haven't opposed it. It is because the safety of our men in uniform is very important. The safety of our president is key to this state. You did politics with presidential aircraft. You did politics with the fleet of the Air Force. But we in the tree, to wait. If you were wrong and unpatriotic yesterday, we in opposition today will take the moral high ground. We'll do what is right for our men and do what is right for our state. But you must ensure that you go ahead in the 2026 budget, maybe by the budget review, you need to create space to accommodate the long haul. Because that is the vision of President Kufuor way back in 2008. It is not a new vision. It is a vision that you took over and jettisoned. President Kufuor envisioned and signed an agreement for 1 short-haul aircraft and 1 long-haul aircraft. For 8 years, you resisted us. You made it a taboo to even discuss. But today, we are supporting you. Let us do what is right for our country. But in so doing, I have a recommendation, Mr. Speaker, that considering the vast opportunities we have in the Air Force sector, particularly in safeguarding our extractive assets, we have tallow, we have ENI, FPSOs, we have our gold, we have many of the oil deposits and assets, and these are paying huge sums of dollars, millions of them every month, to foreign aviation companies. If we resource our Air Force, they are more than enough and they are more competent. They have more gravitas to be able to undertake these services to generate IGF. This IGF, if we take it away from the foreign aviation companies, will even pay for the aircraft by itself. They have demonstrated it before. They were able to deploy a similar arrangement to purchase 2 ships, which are paying for themselves. So we must encourage the minister that the best course of action, in addition to what we are supporting, so that from the purse of the public today we are using to acquire these aircraft, let's encourage such innovative arrangements, such that we can buy as many as 10 aircraft or even more to augment on the assets of our Air Force, such that we'll continue to hold high the flag, continue to remain one of the most formidable in the sub-region. But to conclude, Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the Chief of Defense Staff and the Military High Command for the innovation that they have put into the management of the military in enhancing their might, their air capabilities. They have invented homemade drones, which will come and add up to our helicopters and the Falcon we are going to purchase to beef up our air capabilities. That invention and innovation is worth commending. But to signal, Mr. Speaker, never again must politicians politicize retooling of the Ghana Armed Forces. Never again must politicians play the ostrich and oppose what is right for our country and wait for disaster to strike before we accept the technical reports, same reports given by the same soldiers 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, indicating aging fleet. You said no, the fleets were not aging, they were new. Today, you are saying that the fleets are aging. There is so much more that for the security sensitivities, I will not mention here. But when the committee of the whole is given that opportunity by the Speaker, a lot of things must be said so that our colleagues on the other side will repent from their sins of politicizing retooling of the Ghana Armed Forces. This agreement must be a turnaround, and it must be a cure to the disease of the politician, that never again must we politicize the safety of our soldiers, never again must we politicize the safety of our president. But we are happy. By 3 years' time, it is expected that the Falcon will arrive. And around the same time, it is expected that the 4 helicopters will also arrive to enhance the battle readiness of our armed forces. And by which time, our colleagues will be on this side, and we will be on the right-hand side of the Speaker, and we will ensure we'll continue the investment into the security sector. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, we unreservedly support the retooling of our Ghana Armed Forces. I thank you.
Honourable members, I think I'll proceed to put the question. On the 2 motions, item 18 and 21. Those in favor of the adoption of those motions, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. Motions numbered 18 at page 8 of the order paper and 21 at page 11 of the order paper are hereby adopted. Honourable members, we have made tremendous progress in our democratic development. Some time ago, it wasn't easy to have access to the Ghana Armed Forces to assess the armory and equipment they were purchasing. I'm happy to hear from both of you, both sides of the House, that now that access is available and you'll be able to go through it to make sure that what is being acquired is in the national interest. We'll try to progress on this and to make sure that there are no dark corners anywhere in our governance system, and that we have civilian control of the security forces in the country. That is what democracy is about. When you hide anything, it tends to haunt you. When you throw light on it, then you diffuse it. And so I want to thank the committee members and members for doing a good job, and also add my voice in thanking the Ghana Armed Forces for opening up to the scrutiny of Parliament. We thank you all. May we now take the resolutions. Resolution 19 and 22, moved together by the Minister for Defense.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that resolutions advertised as item 19 and 22 be taken now. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion. The resolution, sorry.
Motion for the adoption of the two resolutions moved and seconded. I proceed to the put a question, or you want to say a word? So I put the question. And the question is that the resolutions numbered 19 and 20 on the order paper addendum 2 be adopted. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The two resolutions are accordingly adopted by the House. Something else. Please, which item? Yes, please.
I humbly want to bring this to the notice of the majority leadership. At conclave, we agree that because of tomorrow being a Farmers' Day, and Saturday is the funeral of our late colleague, we had agreed to close at 5. Speaker, we had gone on to work to do extra 2 hours. It's now 7 p.m. I want to plead with our colleagues that we call it a night, we draw the curtains, and then we can continue Tuesday. Clearly, colleagues are exhausted, and also based on the agreement at conclave. So we should.
Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, I was hoping that we could have taken a couple more of the reports, but I can appreciate the sentiments of my brother. It's been a long day. In fact, he and I, we haven't stepped out. We've just been here. So we agree that we've had a long day.
Are you sure you haven't stepped out?
Speaker, I speak in context. So we would bring the curtains down on today's business. Speaker, we've done more than 5 hours. We've done more than 5 hours. So we are entirely in your hands in this matter. Speaker, let's take the defense estimates, then we go. Okay. Tuesday. 1-1.
Honorable members,
Speaker,
I proceed to adjourn the House.
Speaker, we are making a special prayer. Speaker, please. Oh, let me finish. Hear me.
Honorable members, I proceed to adjourn the House. From what the leadership have told the House, it means that the House will be resuming sitting on, is it Monday or Tuesday?
Speaker, Tuesday at midday.
Tuesday
at midday.
12 noon
12
or
noon.
2?
12 noon, Mr. Speaker.
12 noon.
Speaker, we are in agreement. 12 noon.
12 noon. Honorable members, the House is accordingly adjourned to Tuesday at 12 noon, where we will reconvene to continue with the business of the House. The House is adjourned.